Alright. I don't even know what today is. Let's see. It is the 4th. Let's see. It's today the 4th. I believe so. Yeah. Let's see. Channel overpowering emotions. Malcolm X spoke all over the United States. He never read from a text. Looking out at the audience, he made eye contact, pointed his finger. His anger was obvious, not so much in his tone. He was always controlled and articulate, as in his fierce energy, the veins popping out of his neck. Many earlier black leaders had used cautious words and had asked their followers to deal patiently and politely with the social lot, no matter how unfair. What a relief Malcolm was. He ridiculed the racists. He ridiculed the liberals. He ridiculed the president. No white person escaped his scorn. If whites were violent, Malcolm said the language of violence should be spoken back at them, for it was the only language they understood. Hostility is good, he cried out. It's been bottled up too long. Malcolm X had a bracing effect on many who felt the same anger he did, but were frightened to express it. He was a charismatic of Moses' kind. He was a deliverer. The power of this sort of charismatic comes from his or her expression of dark emotions that have built up over the years of oppression. That's the essence of charisma. It's an overpowering emotion that communicates itself in your gestures, in your tone of voice, and subtle signs that are the more powerful for being unspoken. You feel something more deeply than others, and no emotion is more powerful than that, and more capable of creating a charismatic reaction than hatred, particularly if it comes from the deep-rooted feelings of oppression. Express what others are afraid to express, and they will see great power in you. Say what they want to say, but cannot. Daily law. Learn how to channel your emotions. Nothing is more charismatic than the sense that someone is struggling with great emotions rather than simply giving in to them. Yup, that's a good one. See. August is about softening people's resistance. I'll just read this first paragraph, probably a couple pages long. No, it's not that long. Yeah, it is. We humans cannot avoid trying to influence others. Everything we say or do is examined and interpreted by others for clues as to our intentions. As social animals, we cannot avoid constantly playing the game, whether we are conscious of this or not. Most people do not want to expend the effort that goes into thinking about others and figuring out a strategic entry past their defenses. They are lazy. They want to simply be themselves, speak honestly, or do nothing, and justify this to themselves as stemming from some great moral choice. Since the game is unavoidable, better to be skillful at it than in denial or merely improvising in the moment. In the end, being good at influence is actually more socially beneficial than the moral stance. Becoming proficient at persuasion requires that we immerse ourselves in the perspective of others, exercising our empathy. The month of August will teach you the maneuvers and strategies that will instruct you on how to create a spell, break down people's resistance, give movement and force to your persuasion, and induce surrender in your target. The Master Persuader. Oh, being that that's the whole game of the social influence sphere, I guess that's a good one to pay attention to. All right, we're warmed up and ready to go. Hopefully, my route is open. There are no need for detours. I've taken enough detours in life. Let's go. Well, I didn't make a video yesterday because I didn't go to work. Our little dog passed away. So I took a day off of work so we could find a place to have him cremated. We found a rather nice little spot. There's a pet cemetery out in, like, I guess it's Calabasas area. It's off of, that's off the 101. I believe that's Calabasas. It was pretty. And it seemed like it was almost not going to work out, but it ended up working out. So that whole situation's taken care of. At least I got a little bit of closure. I hated having him not taken care of. We've taken care of him for so long. Didn't seem right that we were at the very final stage, seeming like we weren't going to be able to take care of him properly in terms of, couldn't stand the thought of digging a hole and burying him somewhere. I don't even want that for myself. So I wanted to have him cremated. And thankfully we were able to do it. It's going to be quite an adjustment not having him around. And I'm in no hurry to get another dog. I mean, eventually we will. I know we will, but it doesn't seem right to just right away get another dog. And then it's like a family member who rushes to just replace a family member. And I know people do, and that's okay for them, but it doesn't feel right for me to do that. It just doesn't feel right. So when the time's right and the right little fellow comes along, that's when that'll happen. One of the worst, not the worst parts, but what does it say? Hold on. 8, 7, 3 lanes, that's Boveda. I'm not going that far, so it has nothing to do with me. Alright. Like a day after he passed, I had a dream. I had woken up and he was in it. He was like so excited to see me. He had his little Superman shirt on. He was all energetic, jumping around like he does. And I remember in the dream, like, being so happy to see him. Like, I'm thinking, how is this happening? I remember saying that to him, and he looked at me like, kind of tilted his head to the side, like, "What do you mean?" And I remember like being real close to his face, like looking at his face. When I woke up, fuck, it's just a dream. That little look he gave me, like he didn't understand. Like, what do you mean? It was interesting. But talk about an influence. That little dude had quite an influence on me. I mean, dogs in general, but having like a little special needs friend is different than having like a regular dog. There's a certain amount of attention and care that how you have to take that. A regular dog, you don't really. I mean, you always have to, really pay attention and take care of them, but special needs is different. To be honest, we all have special needs. They use that term for like, that's like the politically correct term. It used to be handicapped. Now it's like special needs. But everybody has a special need. It seems like everybody's so busy taking care of their own needs that they don't see the special needs that other people have. And that's why a lot of relationships don't work out. That's why I'm so glad that me and my woman are bonded the way we are. I think we have a good sense of what each of us needs. So I feel pretty blessed to have her in my life. Where's my drink? Let's have some of that. So, it's the beginning of another chapter. I don't want to say a new chapter, it's just another chapter in our story together. I'm doing this whole thing with Claude where I was like writing my life story into like some sort of like, I don't know, what would be considered like a limited series for a show or something like that. And funny enough, there's been like a couple different instances in my story where I've been places in the past and then have revisited these places full circle, not knowing that I was going to be there sometime in the future. Caesar's place being one of them. Actually, two of these places, actually, now that I think of it, all three of these places took place during the time I was driving a truck, which happened to be very, I don't want to say, it wasn't the best time in my life. But now it turns out 3 jobs, 1 for absolute sure, but 2 I kind of have to speculate on because I don't exactly remember it. It's just, I kind of have this memory of both being at this one person's house that ended up, I was working a job when they were redoing their house. I already told this story, but I'll tell it again because I'm on the subject. I had to use the bathroom, so I went into the house, and I heard the workers talking about how the guy that owns the house was a writer. And then I can't 100% verify this, but I'm like 99% sure that it's the same house as the people who ended up working at the his wife anyways worked at the rescue. She was our boss, and when they had, a party for staff or whatever, it was at their house. I remember just seeing the view. What was striking was what I heard going through the house, and then looking out the balcony out the back, and the view was spectacular. And when I saw it, when we went there years later, me and my girlfriend, I saw that view, and I put it together because he's a writer. I'm like, is this the same fucking house? Are you kidding me? I'm trying to rack my brain because this is after my overdose, so like my memory for that house is a little hazy. The Blue Cloud Road thing is unmistakable because of the name of the street, and then the job itself. So that's 100% fact. I have to take it down a notch in terms of my certainty percentage to like 99% when it comes to that house. And then after looking around to find a place where I could have my little boy cremated, my woman found this, it's a pet cemetery out in like Calabasas area. I worked out there a lot too when I drove a truck. So we went out there, and like the road that you turn on, you kind of drive parallel to the cemetery before you get to like the office, where you go talk to the people. And I'm driving past it, me and my girlfriend, like, fuck, I think I've been here too. I think I had a job, like I didn't work at the cemetery, but I remember passing it. And I remember hearing one of the guys on the CB radio talk about it, saying, "Oh, it's a pet cemetery." And the job I was on was like a little further up the road past the cemetery. And it felt so fucking familiar. It's the same thing as that person's house. It's interesting. I worked out there a lot in Calabasas. A lot of jobs out there. But again, I can't 100% verify that. I don't know if my mind's just putting things together that I might have seen. But I'm like 99% sure I'd passed by there when I was driving a truck. It's so weird. This coffee's good. So as much as I want to be down about all this, like sad, because I miss him, I feel really bad to see how much it hurt my girlfriend because she's so attached to him. She spent so much more time with him than I did. They were like extremely close. And as much as I want to feel bad, it almost feels selfish because You only feel bad when somebody passes because you miss them and you want them to be here. You kind of want that from I almost want to say from a selfish point of view. Because to be honest, I mean, I was thinking about it. It's like towards the end, people don't feel well. When their body's giving out. I know my little boy wasn't feeling right. I didn't want him to continue feeling that way, so it's kind of selfish for me to want him to be here. My mind started to think more from the perspective of, now he's free. He's free of this experience, and he's moved on to the next one, whatever that is. So that's kind of how I have to think about it. The more I started thinking about it that way, the better I started feeling about it. I had a couple of really good cries over it. It was weird because at first I was just kind of numb. I didn't really know. I've seen a lot of dogs die. Working in animal rescue, I've seen a lot of dogs die. And this is the first time I've ever had I've never had my dog die. I mean, I had dogs when I was young. They were my dogs. I mean, it was like the family dog, and I wasn't really attached to them. I didn't really have the love of dogs that I do now. So it's a little different now. And it was just weird for me, like at first, because I was just, I guess, in shock. I mean, I'd been preparing myself for it to happen because I could kind of see his energy kind of not the same. And I could tell he was starting to lose a little bit of weight, looking a little bit thinner, not as active, and as like excited as he has been or had been in the past. So in the back of my mind, I kind of was preparing myself for this, but it still isn't. Nothing can prepare you fully for this. I was in shock for a little bit. I guess I kind of still am. It's like the adjustment of it. There's going to be an adjustment. But changing the mental perspective of it to not focusing on like how much I'm going to miss him, just more focusing on how much joy he brought, and the fact that at least there's no level of suffering, or like he's free. He's free now, like free. So that was kind of a comforting feeling. And I know it might sound retarded to say, but even they say, it's a scientific law that energy doesn't. It's neither created nor destroyed. It just changes. It changes form. So that little energy is out there somewhere. If you believe in God or a creator or the source or where all this comes from, there's the thought that he's just been absorbed back into the source. That's a hermetic way to think of it. It even describes that process in my Kabbalion. So that's been my experience over the last couple of days. It happened on the 1st of August. So those are my thoughts on that. So I guess I have to add that to my story now. I didn't expect that to be a part of it, but I mean, obviously it was eventually going to happen, but I didn't realize I'd be in the middle of writing all this when it happened. Because I talked about him in the story. What's this? 126 exit closed. Use alternate route. That's my exit. Oh, you brat. Okay, so I have to get off before I find my way. So I guess Magic Mountain Parkway is where I have to get off. Of course. That's my exit. Newhall Ranch Road is 126. Alright. Figure it out. You guys get to watch me blindly figure this out because I don't have my map going. Uh, yeah, I gotta get off here. Yep. Yep, it says right there, scales closed, no entry. Woo! Oh, this is easy enough. So if I get off on Magic Mountain Parkway, the old road is right here. Get over one more. that where I want it to be? I don't think so. Maybe. Shit. Did I do this right? No, I don't think I did this right. I think I wanted to go over there. Yeah, I want Rye Canyon. I think that's where I want it to be. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted Rye Canyon. Okay, that's right. Okay, so next time I gotta remember this. If I get up on Magic Mountain, I take the old road to Rye Canyon, and then Rye Canyon takes me to Newhall Ranch Road. Right? That would be Stanford. I think that's where I want to be, right here. I think. Figuring it out. Come on, give me my arrow. There we go. I believe this is accurate. Sir, with your truck. Buddy. Gotta let me go. Alright. Yep. This is right. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Yep, perfect. Alright. Oh, that's funny. There's a restaurant in there. Something Grill. This way. Turn in here. Alright. Ooh. Dude, that was a big owl or a hawk. That was kind of cool. Alright, that wasn't so bad. And I am here. Okay. Right there. Have arrived at my destination. Okay,